welcome to CatavanCast, Van Life We're the Cat. This is the show where we discuss our experiences travelling through the many countries of Europe in a camper van. I'm Ben.
I'm Frey. And Dargo's up and about today.
And because you just picked her up and tried to get her to meet.
Yeah, I know.
She doesn't meet. We will, one day, hopefully soon, we will have audio proof that Dargo is here. We do have a cat.
She does exist.
It's not just some desperate marketing ploy.
Could you imagine? Yeah. After all this time, it turns out the cat in Catavan is not a thing.
There is no cat.
It's just a van.
The cat is a metaphor for something that we haven't figured out yet.
Laziness and fluffiness?
Sure. That's an adequate metaphor, I'd say. We are still in the slightly echoey chamber of our temporary Porto Rafti house. Hopefully it's not too bad for you though. But anyway, today we're not discussing Porto Rafti. We're discussing Latvia.
We are indeed.
Last week we covered Estonia. And we came in through, I can't remember where we came through, Valga.
Yes.
Which is where we ended the last episode, on the way to Cesis. Part of our sort of rather rushed trip through the Baltics.
Yeah, I was going to say, just for perspective's sake.
Yes.
So we left the UK at the end of September 2019.
Yeah.
By this point, it is like...
It's around the 11th of
November?
Yeah. 11, 13, something like that. So yeah, we cut. I think we're on episode. I think this is 14 or 15 now.
Yeah.
I should probably know. We've definitely done 13. I can't remember that. For some reason, I got in my head that was the Russia episode.
Okay.
This is either 14 or 15 now. This episode. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, we ran through some places. I mean, to be fair, we've covered the Germany episode. We covered both our trips into Germany.
Yes.
Because on the first time we were in Germany, we literally just popped into Hamburg for an evening and then onwards to Denmark.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is hit the highlights. Bit of a sightsee. Anything on the way to warmer climates.
Yes.
After
it's getting very cold.
After -7 at night in Finland and Russia.
Yeah.
It's like, we don't want to deal with frozen water pipes. Let's go to the sun.
We hear Spain is nice this time of year.
Yes. So anyway, as always, we get over with the legal stuff. Latvia. If you are going to be driving in Latvia, you must have your driving license, proof of insurance, which is your green card, your passport, and your vehicle registration documents. That's your V5 if you are British. Right-hand drive vehicles, again if you're British, must have headlights and deflector stickers fitted. Obviously, that's anywhere, but I think it's worth saying because someone could forget. Compulsory items on board all motor vehicles, so I assume that includes motorcycles because other countries are specified separately.
Okay.
Again, this is taken from the RAC website, and each one seems to be written by a different person, so they may have just forgotten about motorcycles.
Maybe.
But all motor vehicles must have a first aid kit, a fire extinguisher, and 2 warning triangles, which we didn't know about.
We didn't know about.
No,
until
you may not have had that. Didn't know that to be researched. We did end up having 2 warning triangles. That's only because one of them broke.
Yes.
Each passenger must have a reflective jacket in the vehicle.
Yeah. And
they must be worn whenever you're walking along the road at night or in poor visibility. You should probably have them on all the time anyway. It says specifically at night, when you're walking along the road at night or in poor visibility, you should probably have one on anyway.
Yeah.
Because the next point is headlights on your car must be on all day, every day.
Yeah.
So you might as well have your high vis on. If the cars need their lights on, you should be as visible as possible.
If you're outside of your vehicle.
If you're outside, yes. This is what walking down the road.
Yes.
So this isn't walking down the high street. This is walking along the roads. Winter tyres are compulsory between the 1st of December and the 1st of March. Now, winter tyre. Whenever I say winter tyres, I always picture studded tyres because that doesn't mean studded tyres.
No,
I mean,
they're not the same.
It has M and S, M plus S written on the side.
Which is mud and snow.
Yep.
The M and S comes from the German words for it. I can't remember what mud is, but snow is Schnee.
Oh.
So it's something and Schnee.
That's a happy little coincidence.
Exactly.
Yes, and you can also make the Marks and Spencer joke.
Exactly.
If
they're
you're
not just tyres,
if you're British,
they're Marks and Spencer
M&S tyres. But spiked tyres are prohibited from the 1st of May until the 1st of October.
Makes sense.
Makes sense. Speed limits, built up areas are 50 kilometres an hour, unless it's a signed residential area, and then it's 20 kilometres an hour.
Wow, okay.
Normal roads are 90 kilometres and dual carriageways are 100 kilometres an hour. There are no motorways, because like Estonia, they just don't have the traffic for it.
Yeah.
And there are no toll roads, and there are no emission zones or congestion charge zones.
Sweet.
So drive wherever you want. Police can issue on-the-spot fines and demand immediate payment. They have very strict drink-drive limits.
Yeah.
And they can, obviously you should not be drinking.
Just don't do
it. Just don't do it, but they can demand immediate payments. And there are plenty of petrol stations that operate 24 hours, and you can pay by card, and LPG is everywhere. Everywhere. I don't think I've mentioned it as much before, but I really feel like the website we were using to find LPG stations.
Yeah, I think we mentioned it in the how to be ready for van life.
Yeah, I'm going to start mentioning it like a few things on every episode because I think it's that useful if anyone's just jumping in for this one. mylpg.eu is, we're not sponsored by them.
No.
But they're absolutely fantastic. Don't trust Google Maps. If you search for LPG stations on Google Maps, you will just get a petrol station. It does not. It assumes all petrol stations have LPG pumps. Do not use Google Maps. mylpg.eu is fantastic. You do have to know where you are on a map because I can't find any search function. You search by country, then you just got to zoom in where you are.
You should know where you are.
Yeah, well, hopefully. And the more you zoom in, the more detail the things get, and it will tell you how much LPG costs there.
Yes.
And the last time someone reported they successfully purchased LPG from there.
Yeah.
It's a brilliant thing. It's saved us so many times. It's an invaluable tool. It's free. It's fantastic. It's not a download thing. Unfortunately, it's not an app. So you do need an internet connection for it to work. But you're in the Baltics. Baltics are excellent, but most of Europe's perfect. Fine for mobile data. mylpg.eu, absolutely invaluable tool. To get LPG.
Yes.
Which, we used in our van, which we were driving through Latvia. Little segue there. I've been practicing.
Have you? Okay.
Yes, not very much. I need more practice.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think we spent about Latvia was the shortest Baltic state we stayed in, wasn't it?
Yes, I think so, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lithuania only became a longer one due to unfortunate circumstances.
Yes.
That's a little taster for next week.
So you're quite good at those.
Yeah, I'm good at hinting and stuff. Yes. Want to keep people coming back for the next reason to keep coming back.
I see.
There's no payoff of this. We just keep getting drip fed to the next episode. Yes, we crossed the border in Valka, which is a town. We said at the end of the last episode, but it's a small town on the border between Estonia and Latvia, and it's very clear where the hard border used to be.
Yes.
And it's just it's not like the size of the road is like you'd find on a housing estate, isn't it? Just one side is Estonia, the other side is Latvia.
Yep.
And it's crazy to think that used to be. I mean, they are still two separate countries, obviously due to the Schengen zone. You just walk over there.
Yeah.
Whereas before there would have been a whole border.
Yeah, because the booths are still up.
Yeah, all the booths and the
There's just
buildings.
nobody occupying them, but those are still there.
Those were so much more regularly prominent in Eastern Europe.
Probably because those countries have joined the EU more recently.
Yes, yeah. I wonder whether those countries, because Eastern Europe especially seems quite, not proud, like their history is very important to them.
Yes,
So
they remember the good and the bad.
Yes. As we said last week, part of the black line on Estonia's flag represents their dark, troubled past. And I think I quite, not like, that's the wrong word, but I can still appreciate wanting to keep that reminder of this is how we used to have to, if you kicked your ball over that fence, like the guy lives 10 metres away from you, but that's it, it's gone.
Yeah. It's still like that in quite a few places.
Yeah.
But
Valka, we came through there. We were in Latvia and we needed petrol and diesel, and to do our weekly shop.
Food shop.
And we thought that Latvia would be significantly cheaper than Estonia. Because Estonia wasn't massively expensive, but it's more built into that. You know, it feels like a Scandinavian country.
Yeah.
But the prices kind of help
Yeah.
with that to an extent. Latvia, I think we were expecting it to be so much cheaper. They use the euro as well, and it is cheaper than Estonia, but
Not that
marginally. We went into the supermarket and went, oh, okay, fair enough. So we did.
But I think we kind of also, it was hitting us a little bit harder because we'd just been to Russia.
Yeah, we were still. Yeah.
So yeah, that might have played a part psychologically.
I mean, we've not been. Morocco was cheap, but nothing's been cheaper than Russia. Russia was fantastically cheap. Yeah, we were still kind of hoping for a return to that in some way, but we didn't. But yes, we did some shopping, got our petrol, and then went on our way to Cesis.
Yes. Which
is our first stop. And I don't know if you remember, the car park was not far out of the town centre, city centre rather. And there was a couple of dedicated motorhome spaces.
Yes.
But there's no facilities.
No.
There were no black water or water points or electric points, nothing like that. Just you can park your motorhome here, next to the bus parking, as I recall.
Yeah.
And it was just a big tarmac car park. There was a football pitch or a sports ground just over the road with a huge water tower, maybe, or like there's some sort of structure you can get in, not sure. Then we bedded down for the night, and the next day we went for a bit of a walk around Cesis.
We did.
Now this is when we really we sort of decided or agreed that Monday in Europe is no good for touristy stuff.
Nope.
Maybe now because it's summer,
yeah.
But certainly in the off season, because we wanted to go to a castle, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, the castle in Cesis.
Castle.
Is it just called Cesis Castle?
I think so.
Cesis. Yep, Cesis Castle, and there's the gardens. The castle was closed because it's Monday. They just happened to be closed on Monday.
Yes.
But we went for a bit of a walk around the old town, and it was nice enough. Just another.
It was quite a pretty little town.
Yeah, and they had, again, like a lot of Eastern European cities, it had memorials for wars that, well, certainly myself as a British citizen, because we're not taught anything about anybody else's history. They had their own war. All these Eastern European cities, countries. There we go, got bigger and bigger. Have had their own wars for independence.
Yes.
And they have memorials for this. And I think that's why I learned so much more about these countries, Eastern countries, because I know so little about it. And it's like I'd only heard of Latvia because I used to work with a guy from Latvia. And I didn't know anything about the countries. I had this whole war for independence. What was that about? And it's, so I really found that quite fascinating. And we'll come back to that later on in the discussion.
Yes.
But yeah, so it was just a quiet, lazy Sunday afternoon, really, wasn't it? Walking around. So you had the castle gardens,
which were quite nice, to be fair.
Yes, there's a whole part. There was a little school trip going around as well.
There was.
We kept bumping into them, didn't we?
We did.
We kept crossing paths.
We were trying not to follow them, but we kept bumping into them.
It was like a gaggle of school kids in little
They're primary school kids, holding hands two by two.
Primary school kids are hilarious watching, because they are like ducks. But you've got one at the back as well, so you've got the one at the front leading them. They all have to link arms, and then you've got one at the back just making sure none of them run off or anything. Herding them. We kept crossing paths with them as we walked around. And in the gardens, there was that huge, well, not huge, but again, that was closed, like a big blue Orthodox church. Which was one of the, outside of Russia, there was one of the big, like very Orthodox looking things that we'd seen at this point. And it just really stood out because it was just like a sky blue.
It was just so bright.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
That's about it. Everything was closed, so we couldn't really see anything.
We still had a wander around the gardens and everything like that, and then that is, just after that, there's another little park, which is where we first saw the black swans.
Oh yes, making that noise.
Yes.
Which I can't remember. I imagine that's on the video.
Yes.
The Cesis video.
But we'd never seen black swans before. I never even knew that they existed.
No, they're black swans with a big red beak, weren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were quite cool.
A very distinct sound.
Yeah.
And I remember we were trying to get photos of them, and they knew they were being photographed, because then they'd bugger off the other way.
Exactly.
And just hide behind a tree or something. But no, Cesis was a very. It clearly is a touristy sort of place because they had the big next to the castle. They had the big Cesis letters so that people take photos by. But we were there in November, so nothing was open. There was just a load of old people going around on a Monday afternoon in the off season. People walking around just doing their shopping. But yeah, we did have a walk around. It was a nice old town. It would have been nice to go and have a coffee somewhere.
Yeah.
Like a bit of brunch or something.
Yeah.
Again, knowing that we had to go back through Western Europe, we were kind of saving our money.
Yeah.
We'd splurged in Russia because we could afford to go out and eat every day. But back in the EU, prices are higher and we were very much on a budget.
Yeah.
So we went to go and do free things, and we'd heard about a free thing at Svartes Rock, which wasn't probably maybe about an hour's drive away from Cesis.
I think so, yeah.
But that was the first time we'd seen these, I'm just going to call them Baltic roads.
Okay.
For lack of a better term. I'd been warned about these. I said on the last episode that my parents, probably about 6 months before we left for the trip, did a motorbike holiday in the Baltics. Started in Estonia, went down to Lithuania. And they sent me photos of these roads, and they said it was terrifying on a motorbike. So these roads, they're country roads, essentially, but they're between dirt track and tarmac.
Yeah.
Like they're flat. There's no potholes or anything. Well, they're about as many potholes as there would be on a tarmac road, but they're covered in gravel, like loose stones that can kick up.
Yes.
So the van was vibrating a little bit. I think Dargo was just sat very still, wide-eyed, just like, what's happening to my house? What's going on? But you didn't have to crawl down it.
No.
It wasn't like that road in Morocco. There was no like exposed ironwork or anything like that. It was you could still keep up a decent enough pace, but if you went too fast, the worry is you could lose traction or it's just uncomfortable. You're just rattling the van. But it turns out once you get off, all these roads just become them, don't they? You just be on a tarmac road and then it just becomes.
I think so.
This dirt track.
If I'm perfectly honest, I don't quite remember this road.
No?
That you speak of. I'm not saying that you're making it up. I just personally have minimal
I'm not.
memory
Did this happen really?
Because I'm pretty sure I drove to Svartes Rock.
You did.
But I don't remember this road. Maybe it was that traumatising.
Maybe, yeah. Well, you may remember on the video I did, I sort of just sped up the footage so it looked like you were driving really fast down it.
Maybe.
But there was still very, because you're just going through farmland, so it's all very scenic roads.
Yeah.
And I don't know, you may remember a bit, there was just a lot of, one big long straight road with trees all down the side of it.
Yes.
And just very bumpy. I'll show you the video and you'll
I'll watch the video.
Yes.
Okay.
And you should watch the video too.
Yes. Listeners, do watch the video with us.
Search for Catavan on Google, or Catavan UK, not on Google. Well, yeah, on Google, but on YouTube, and look for the Latvia or Riga one. I'm not sure which one it is.
Excellent plug there.
There you go.
Smooth.
Plug it again.
Smooth.
Yeah. All about plugs. But yes, Svartes Rock, which was out some sort of a family outdoor centre.
Yeah.
So there's just a car park, and there were lots of walking trails that lead off from there. There was some sort of cabin, which was shut because it's off season.
Yeah.
And do you recall, because there was another family sort of milling about.
Yeah,
kids.
they were quite far over.
And there were I don't know whether there's a seesaw or like a balancing beam.
There were definitely some picnic benches and stuff around.
Yeah, there was some stuff to keep the kids.
Yeah, I think there was a playground as well.
And nature trails, I think,
yes.
things like that. But we were going to Svartes Rock, so we took Dargo out for a walk.
We did.
Because there was no one around. That's also on the video, that's worth watching.
Yes.
Little tails up in the air.
She's adorable.
And Svartes Rock, which is on the bank of the Amata River. There is a Svartes cliff as well, but the cliff isn't it's just a big sandstone cliff.
Yeah, it's a cliff behind the rock.
But in front of the cliff is the rock, which is a 44-metre high sandstone outcrop which splits the river. So the river sort of goes around it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And I'm sure there was more sort of lore or legend to it.
I think there was, yes.
All I could find was the legends where witches used to meet there during the solstice.
Yeah, it was something like that.
The thing is, trying to search up for stories and legends about rocks and cliffs in Lithuania, there are Loads of them. Latvia, sorry, in Latvia, not Lithuania. In Latvia, there are loads of them.
Yeah.
There are several with the same name. There's so many Devil's Rocks, it's obscene.
I think we mentioned the law in the video as well.
I think we did actually.
I think so.
Probably should have watched. Yeah.
Maybe we should watch the video.
Maybe we should watch the video. Yes. I get some insight. Yeah, and then we carried on from there on our way to the Terena. You know how you pronounce it?
Yes.
The Terena Museum Reserve, which apparently, I mean, this is according to their website, or a website where you can buy tickets for it.
Yes.
It is the most visited museum in Latvia.
That doesn't surprise me.
I mean, it was a big, because it's an open museum, isn't it? So we parked up. We got there only a couple of hours before
it was supposed to close.
Because they were on winter opening times.
Yes.
So it was getting dark as well. By the time we left, it would have been too dark to really, and the drizzle was starting to settle in as well.
For that museum reserve, I've just remembered a little bit of a hint and tip.
Yeah.
Opposite, across the road from the museum reserve is the car park for it.
Yes.
And in the off season, they don't charge anything.
Yes.
And when we were there, I think there was like a minibus and maybe another car or something, and that was it.
Yeah.
Plus, it was raining.
Yes.
I think during the peak season they do charge, but even then it's like €1, maybe €3. It's not much.
Yeah.
But it's good.
Yeah. And the museum was fairly cheap to get in as well, considering what is there. And we didn't see everything because, again, not all of it is open.
No.
This is listen to our travel guide. Yeah, it was shut. We didn't know.
That's mainly our travel guide.
It
There's
looked good.
Scaffolding and everything's shut.
Everything's yeah. The city's under construction and nothing's open. But no, we went in. There were some houses where I think during the summer they have, I'm going to call them artisans.
Yes.
So woodworkers in there doing woodwork, and there's mills. There was a wooden church, which I think we did get in. No, we didn't get in.
We peeked it.
We looked in through the window. So there's an old wooden church, and next to, just up the road from a reconstructed castle.
Yes.
I think the tower or the wall had been demolished at one point during an attack. And we caught fire.
I think the tower caught fire.
Yeah.
And the roof collapsed.
Yes. Oh, that's right. They rebuilt the roof.
Yeah.
And one of the upper floors.
Yes.
Yes. So it was, so some of the buildings, and I think the castle originally date back to the 11th century. And you can go in around the castle grounds. Most of them are, as you expect ruins to be. There are, you can see the foundations where the walls were, that everything's out and exposed.
Yes.
But the tower, they put the roof back on, and there's an observation deck up on the top.
Yes.
Which was quite the climb.
Yes. And scary.
Yes. Well, there were narrow. I mean, they're like all medieval tower staircases.
Yeah.
They're not made for tourists to keep their distance.
No.
Especially not with COVID restrictions now. I don't know how they sort of work.
I doubt that's open at the moment. Actually,
it's probably not. I've no idea how the Baltic's really dealing with doing it in situation at the moment.
I'm not sure.
Well, no, you couldn't open anything like that yet.
No.
But no, you go up the top. We spent about half an hour at the top, didn't we? Because you have windows all around, so you get a 360-degree view. There are binoculars which you have to pay for to use, like on tripod things, not tripods, you know what I mean, mounts. And
plenty of information up there.
Yes, all the ones you look out, it tells you what you can see. That's where we saw. It was like a huge cable car. But was it a cable car or was it like a ski lift? No, it was more like a cable car.
It was more like a cable car that goes across the valley, but we couldn't figure out.
We couldn't see the other end of it. Yeah, we couldn't. No, you just saw a box floating over the valley below.
It's like, is there a wire?
Yeah, and then there was, I think, on the site of where the actual village used to be, there were loads of folk sculptures.
Yes.
Which, unfortunately, that was all on grass. There was no path for that. And the rain was really starting to come down.
Yeah, it was quite muddy.
And we were like, okay, we're getting muddy, we're getting to where this is unpleasant. So from that slightly unpleasant atmosphere, we then spent the night above Devil's Rock. And
that was quite peaceful.
It was quite peaceful, actually. So Devil's Rock, so it's literally like a 15-minute drive?
Yeah.
From...
See, I remember those roads.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So we just parked up, like a few places. It's just again, it's where lots of walking trails start from.
Yes.
You just use it in the woods, and we were on top of a steep cliff, which you couldn't see because of all the trees, so a bit away from it. And we slept the night, and then in the morning we took Dargo for another walk.
We did.
All the way down the wooden steps to the river, and you have to walk up the river a bit. Different river, not the Amata. This is the River Gauja. We walked along there. There's a suspension bridge which gets you across, and then you have to walk back down opposite where we were sleeping, and then you get a good view of Devil's Rock, within which is Devil's Cave.
Yes.
Now we noticed while we were there, it looked like we thought maybe someone was building a path to get to the cave entrance.
Yeah.
Because you can, from the other side of the river, you can see it's just a big cliff, exposed cliff, with a hole in it basically.
Yeah.
And when you're on that side of the river on the footpath, you can see what looks like the beginnings of a footpath to the entrance of the cave. Turns out it's actually an old entrance to the cave. Visitors, tourists used to be able to get in there, but you had to crawl, I think pretty much on your belly.
Really?
To get in. Or it was like a 1 metre high gap to get in, so you had to crawl to get in there.
Not COVID friendly then.
Not COVID friendly, no. They obviously knew that. 'Cause in 1980, they were like, no, this is the lawsuit waiting to happen.
Yeah.
Or someone's going to get
I bet
stuck,
people still go in there though.
Oh, I bet they do.
I bet people still like.
There's probably beer
climb
cans in
down
there.
and
Yeah, of course they do. But yeah, I don't think with the conditions we wouldn't have gone crawling in there anyway.
Yeah.
But we got a good view of it from the other side of the cliff. Again, where there was other side of the river, sorry, where there was like a little picnic area, and I think there was some information on it from there as well.
There was, yes.
But something that I don't remember reading from there, there are lots of markings on the wall on the face of the cliff, left from their fish fossils.
Okay.
All the remnants of fish fossils. And they've removed the fossils, and it's just the indent in the rock. And apparently this is the richest fossil site in the Sigulda area.
Okay.
I don't know how big the Sigulda area is. I'm not sure if that's the county equivalent we were in, the municipality or whatever.
Sigulda was the nearest big city / town. So.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
And the cave is 8 metres above the water. And they reckon it was formed about 5,000 years ago. And it's about 35 metres deep. So even if you did crawl in on your belly, there wouldn't be much to see. It's not that deep.
Oh, I see.
35 metres deep, so it's just a big hole. And this is a protective, the cliff and the cave are protected geographical objects. Now, I'm sure while we were there was some information about, again, the legend and the myth of the place. All I could find on it, and I looked a few websites, all I could find on it was it apparently used to be the site of an ancient paganic cult. I'm sure there was more to it than that.
I think the board there did tell us more about it.
But if you Google Devil's Rock, Latvia, you get several. There's not just one. I found loads about some rock which is in the middle of a field. And I think the devil put it there because he was tickled by a fly monster or something like that. That might be a Nordic thing. I'm getting it mixed up with now. I'm not sure.
Maybe we should go there. That sounds cool.
But yeah, it was not. Again, it was just part of a lot of nature walking tours. A great big huge river.
It's a lovely area though.
Yeah.
That Gauja River, I'm pretty sure we crossed quite a few times.
On the road.
Yeah, we kept going backwards and forwards over it throughout Latvia.
Yes.
And I can't remember whether it extended into Estonia or Lithuania as well, but I think it does.
Yeah.
And it is very scenic and very pretty.
Yes, and that's where we actually bumped into another British couple, didn't we?
Yes, they're like the first people we'd bumped into, or first British people we'd bumped into.
You're right, actually. Yeah, you mentioned that. Yeah, because remember we sort of their van was there when we pulled up on the night, and we recognised the number plate.
Yeah.
It's weird looking now that so few countries have yellow number plates on the back of their vehicles.
Yes.
And so, that's a British one, and because you don't want to go knocking on the side of someone's van, it's because if someone knocks
especially not in the middle of the night.
Well, no, or even in the morning, if someone knocks on the side of your van, your stomach
like,
drops. So what have we done? What's going? Where are we? But we happened to bump into them as we were leaving. We were going up the hill, they were coming back down, and they go around canoeing.
They do, yes.
Yeah, they had canoes on the top of their van.
Funnily enough, they'd left about the same time as us and done the exact same route as us, and I think we'd been like a day or so out of sync with them.
I think they missed Russia though, didn't they?
Yeah, they did Russia. They got the ferry down from Finland to
Yes, that's
Estonia.
right, yeah.
So that was kind of amusing. I wonder where they are now.
I wonder where. Maybe listening to this.
Perhaps.
Doubt
if
it.
you are, let us know.
Yes.
That'd be fun.
We had the cat. We had the cat. Remember the unsociable cat? Oh yes, of course, Sigulda was the nearby city because we left there and went to Sigulda Castle.
Yes. Which
was shut. That
surprise.
We think. Well, I think that closes for the season because this would have been a Tuesday.
Yeah.
And I specifically remember there were construction boards.
Yeah, I think they were doing work.
There was the castle was under construction.
Yeah.
It's a long time coming. So then we skipped from that and went to Riga, which is the capital city.
Yeah. And your dad's favourite.
My dad's favourite, so I had high expectations for it.
Yes.
Wasn't my favourite.
No.
Tallinn was my favourite of the three Baltic capitals.
States.
Yeah. But that's I'm a sucker for a medieval village. I'm a sucker for a good old town. Riga was a much more modern city.
It was, yes. Well, it still had the old town and elements of the old town.
Yes.
But it's been incorporated in with modern aspects quite well, I think.
Yes. Yeah. It just gives it a unique feel to it, I suppose. Yes,
definitely.
A bit different. So again, no congestion charge zones, no emissions zones. So we went and parked up. Riga's on a river because it's a European capital city. Of course, it's on a river. We parked up along. There was like a big row of hotels and several little harbours or ports. I'm not sure what the difference is between a harbour and a port. Sort of all the way up the road. We parked up on the hotels. It was free. There's just space on like a little access road, wasn't there? It runs parallel to the main road. So we parked up there, and that was, you're 5 minutes away from the Parliament building, weren't you?
Yeah.
Which is about 5 minutes away from the
It's
old
a little
town.
bit of a tricky walk in though if you're going to try and park there. Because you've got that bridge
Oh
in
yes,
the way, and you can't go over it.
Yeah, there's like a flyover bridge, and you need to be on there, but you can't quite get to it.
No.
To get you into the town. Yeah, we had a bit of bother with that.
Yeah.
So we came back on ourselves a couple of times.
I think you have to though. I think the way we went, because you had to go up up the start of the bridge a little bit to go down the steps to then go under the bridge to then come out the other side.
Yeah, that's right. It was all a bit. I just want to be over there.
I can see where I want to be. Just let me be there.
I want to give your city money. Oh no, we didn't actually. We didn't spend any money. Take that back. Yes, we're the big Parliament building, which is just on the edge of the old town, really.
It is.
Because then you can tell because suddenly there's little old churches.
And cobbled streets.
That's the big giveaway.
Yeah.
And it didn't take long until you sort of out in the main square of the old town.
Yeah.
It was not the main square, there's several squares in Riga. And that had the cathedral on it.
Yeah.
We wanted to get in the cathedral. It was open.
Yes.
But it was like €10 each.
It was quite pricey.
To get in. And I thought, well, no, we can't justify €20. Because we'd sort of been making jokes about all the cathedrals we'd seen in the first part of this trip. And let's go to the cathedral. We like looking at them. They're all very different. Architecturally, they're all very impressive. Most of them. Yeah. And so this is a great big huge one. It looks amazing from the outside. I thought we just can't justify €20.
No.
Because we'd already said, no, we're not going to have dinner out because we can't afford it for the budget. So no, we're not going to spend that money going into cathedral. So I was a little bit bitter about it, to be honest.
You don't say. You only mentioned it like 10 times in the Latvia video and then probably subsequent videos as well.
Yeah.
I'm just glad you've stopped mentioning the French toll roads by now.
Not thinking of starting on those again. €27. Anyway, so we just walked around the outside, and again we got around the back, and there were similar to St. Catherine's Passage in Tallinn.
Yes. Yeah.
So in Tallinn, St. Catherine's Passage, there were on the wall of an old church on the outside there were ancient tombstones and grey tombstones, headstones, things like that. And they had the same thing at the cathedral in Riga.
Yes.
But there was no little information board telling you what they were.
No.
Our assumption is that it tells you that
it's
in the cathedral.
Yeah.
Where you have to pay to get in. So luckily we'd been to Tallinn first, so we knew what they were.
Yeah.
Because they were mounted in the same way.
I think it's the same thing that obviously before there wasn't any buildings or anything in the immediate vicinity of the cathedral.
Yes.
Where there was a graveyard.
Yeah.
And when they wanted to build the buildings, they found these and put them up as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Historical.
Preserve them.
Yes.
You can go up and touch them.
That's fine.
It's fine. Yes, then we went just walking through the old town, looking at all the cobbled streets and the buildings.
It was quite... Riga, from what I remember, is a very nice city. Especially as you come towards where all the restaurants were.
Just off the main square?
Yes.
Yes.
It opens up into another square.
Oh yeah, because we went from the cathedral, we were heading just generally towards the Freedom Monument.
Yeah.
You go through quite a few streets.
Yeah. And there's that bar/pub, I think, which has got a pirate or a soldier on the corner of it. I'm very vague. I've got images in my head that are quite abstract.
Well, I've just remembered actually. I think by the time we were there, the schools were just kicking out or something. Because suddenly a lot of, not primary school kids, but high school kids, sort of milling around, going to McDonald's and such. All in their uniforms.
But I like that part of the town.
Riga, I wish we could have spent more time there. I know Tallinn we ended up going to twice. And because of circumstances, and the same with Vilnius, which is the capital of Lithuania. Riga, we just spent a long afternoon and evening there.
Yes.
Which is a shame. I feel like we missed so much.
We did probably miss a lot.
Yeah, but then that's, we couldn't have done much because of the budget we were on. But I've already said I'd love to go back to the Baltics. Especially Riga.
Yes, definitely.
But let's not dwell on what we did.
Happily go back to Tallinn. And Vilnius.
Oh yeah.
No, both of them. They're all amazing.
Well, we're going to Tallinn. We're going to that medieval restaurant. I want some boar.
Okay. Not bear. I think they serve bear.
Oh, even better. Bear. Oh no, I don't want to be responsible for killing a bear.
No?
No.
Okay.
I don't know. Bears are... Anyway. Maybe if the bear was defeated in combat. Like, he attacked somebody and someone killed him in self-defense.
Okay.
I'll eat that bear.
Sure.
Anyway.
I'll try and send them a request ahead of
put
time.
That in, yes.
The next time an Estonian battles a bear, please save the meat for Ben.
Yes. Please. When's he coming? We don't know. We're in Greece at the moment.
Okay.
Then we got to the Freedom Monument.
Yes.
A lot of history there.
Yes.
Yes. You were there, yeah, the big...
Yes.
I think I read it's like 44 metres tall.
Okay.
I think it is. It's a huge thing. I've written down some information on it here because it is very... We didn't realise how important it was because of the time of year it was. It must have been... I think this must have been before November the 11th because there were actual military guards in front of the monument.
Yes.
And we thought it was a bit, why are there guards here? I wonder if they're here all the time. And we thought, oh no, it's the run-up to Remembrance Day.
Yeah.
So we thought it was something to do with that. Turns out, no, there are always guards there. So the Freedom Monument, it was erected in 1935 to commemorate their War of Independence, which lasted from 1918 to 1920, which is a similar sort of time to the Estonian War of Independence. And I think the Greeks also had their independence, or some sort of
Greeks
battle around.
was 18.
Oh, it was 18. No, there was some other. A lot of wars. Let's say World War I ended in 1918, but so many wars happened after that.
Probably because it was the right time.
Well, yeah, that's when
resistance to rise up.
Well, that's when colonialism sort of started breaking down.
Yeah, because all the money got put into the war, didn't it?
So it was erected in 1935. During the Soviet occupation, it was twice considered for demolition. Now, the first time it got dismissed because a Soviet sculptor appreciated the artistic value of it. Because it's all in stone carvings of their history and their mythical heroes and things.
Oh yes, the giant burly semi-naked men.
Yeah, there's like
with
a big,
like He-Man hair.
There's like He-Man. Yes. That's it. Yeah, the He-Man dude. Yeah. That's probably very culturally insensitive. Maybe.
Sorry.
It looked like He-Man with a hat on. So yes, it was a Soviet woman actually. Quite high. It didn't say what her rank was. She was just a Soviet sculpture. She's just like, no, look at it. It's too artistically valuable to get rid of. And the second time they dismissed the demolition of it because they feared it was just cause civil unrest. Because it's celebration or memorial rather of their independence and the soldiers, their countrymen that died for their independence.
Yeah.
The Soviets, because a year later there was a mass ceremony there, just laying wreaths and things.
Yes.
And
5,000 people?
5,000 people gathered there to lay wreaths, and that's when the whole liberation from or kicking the Soviets out really kicked off.
Yeah.
So it was going to happen anyway. There was already enough of an anti-Soviet sentiment. They didn't want to antagonise that or encourage that by tearing down their independence monuments.
Yeah.
So it stands to this day, and all the better for it. I'm looking at completely the wrong piece of thing now. Yes, so we sat there and we watched the guards.
We did.
And there's all things, the guards have to be 6 feet tall, minimum. There's 3 pairs of guards, and they stand out there for an hour.
Yeah.
They do now march. They sort of march around, and there were police. That's the other thing why we thought something was special, because there's police about.
Yeah.
But the police were there to guard the guards, basically.
They were kind of chatting to the guards, weren't they? The guards.
Yeah, this isn't. Yeah, these aren't royal guards.
It was kind of just like, what's going on? Like, I don't understand. Yeah. They're just having a laugh. This is great.
But they rotate them every hour.
Yeah.
Which we just happened to catch. We just sat down. We had a bit of a.
We had lunch. We had sandwiches.
Yeah, a bit of a snack. And we watched the changing of the guard.
Yeah.
Which was, just by chance, because we didn't know there were going to be any guards there. And
we've got quite lucky with changings of the guards, because that's happened almost every time we've seen guards.
That's true, actually, yeah. But no, they're out there every day from like 9 until 6, I think, something like that. There's 3 pairs on a rotating shift. Unless it gets too cold. Like if it gets to -10 or plus 25 degrees Celsius, they'll be out there.
-10 is low.
-10 is low. 25 is hot.
25 isn't too bad.
When you're in all military gear, because it's not military gear, it's all the like parade gear, the decorative stuff. So it's not built for comfort, it's built to look good. -10.
Like that's frostbite.
Yeah, and they're out there all the time. So yeah, that was just they're always there. That was cool. We thought we caught something special. We had with the changing of the guard, but the guards are always there. Just up the road from that was the Riga Nativity of Christ Cathedral, which is a huge Orthodox cathedral, which you don't have to pay to get in.
Nope.
But I remember that road, it seems, because Freedom Monument was kind of on a huge bridge of sorts, wasn't it?
Over the park.
Yeah, it's so big you don't really realise you're on a bridge.
Yeah.
And then the other side of it, you're now out of the old town.
Yes.
It's a great big open multi-lane road, and there's just huge tower block shopping centres and all this.
Yeah.
But the big Orthodox cathedral was there, so we went. And I think outside of we hadn't been in one since Russia was the first one.
Yes.
In St. Petersburg.
Yeah.
So this was the first non-touristy, I suppose, cathedral we've been to. First European or EU, there you go, Orthodox cathedral we've been in.
Yeah.
And again, Orthodox cathedrals very different to Catholic or Protestant, well, more Protestant cathedrals, I suppose. In that it's pictures everywhere. They're big on their imagery, the Orthodox, and gold. It's very decorative.
The Protestants are quite minimalistic when it comes to their idolism.
Yes.
The Catholics like their gold everywhere. The Orthodox Church likes pictures of Mary and baby Jesus.
Yes, and you go up and it's normal to go and like kiss the pictures.
Yes.
Because they're all behind it. I couldn't figure it out why at first. But yeah, people just go up and kiss all these pictures.
Yes.
Don't know how they manage that in these COVID times.
I don't think people will be doing that at the moment.
And the other thing with Orthodox churches is that you must be dressed modestly.
Yes.
So no miniskirt. I think that's where there was a woman in there with a quite revealing dress on. And people were I don't think anyone said anything to her, apart from I think it was at church. I think one of the women, I was like working there, just attending there, maybe had a word with her or something. But I think people were just looking at her like, oh, I've got to take a look. Because women have to cover your head as well.
Yes.
So, I don't know if men would be able to go in there with shorts on.
Not so sure.
It's
not advised.
No, but men must remove all head coverings.
Yeah.
Women must
wear
head covering. Apply your covering. But no, it's just good. I like looking at religious buildings. It's something it interests me.
Yeah.
Which is odd because religion doesn't interest me on a personal level, but everything else about it is interesting to it.
For me personally, I like exploring the differences in between the religions, and for Christianity, like I said, there is such a stark difference between the different sects of it.
Yeah.
Which is interesting, which is cool.
Well, I think especially, and forgive me if this sounds naive or just pig-headed or whatever, but I suppose with yourself being raised Islamic, where there are no depictions.
Yes.
Going to an Orthodox cathedral, that's
Yes.
like the polar opposite. It's like
Yeah.
pictures everywhere, kiss them.
Well, this is, I think we said this when we came out of the cathedral in St. Petersburg. We were just like, you can kind of see why people turned around and said that Christians had lost their way. That's why we need to go back and have a less idealistic
Yes.
religion.
Yeah.
And that's why Islam, when it came about,
Yeah.
was so hot on getting rid of idols.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because when the Judeo-Christian religions were started, there was a lot of pagan religions out there, and Hinduism, which is very heavy on its idols.
Yes.
So it was kind of like, no, you're going down that same route again.
Yeah.
Like, backtrack a little bit
Yeah.
and put
Yeah.
the idols away,
Yeah.
kind of a thing. So it's interesting.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of why, cause we haven't done as many mosques as I kind of hoped we would. I don't think we did any in Morocco, thinking about it. Because they don't have the imagery,
Yeah.
or the images rather, or the patterns and the stonework is so much more.
Yes.
Like, it's a whole different appreciation,
It's a different type of
approach.
art.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
But yeah, Orthodox ones, a lot of pictures, a lot of weird. It's Catholic, like old Catholic drawings of people, sometimes Zika baby Jesus thing. Like, they just can't do faces. I don't know whether it's from a certain time period or whether that's the style, but the faces
I think
all
that is
look
just
weird.
the style.
It's just, it's a weird.
Because if you compare like the old, like the Byzantine and that era of
yeah,
Christian paintings that we saw,
yes,
you compare those to like Leonardo da Vinci's Last Supper,
yeah.
they're very, very different styles. I think it is the style of the time.
But it's weird how the faces they put in stained glass window look better than the one they've painted with their hands. You know,
Maybe the glass just comes out better.
That's enough taking a piss out of people's
We're
deep
not
personal
taking
religion.
the-
No, we're not.
We're curious.
It's
You
just-
should
yeah,
be
just-
curious about these things.
Yeah.
It's how you learn.
So then we left the cathedral,
Yes,
went back to the old town,
we did.
and we walked through the park. Very nice parks.
Very nice
All
park.
kind of like multi-layered as well, weren't there? With
Yes.
little bridges and
Yeah.
lakes and trees and benches everywhere. And on the other side of the park from where we were, we didn't realise at the time, it's a whole terrace, a row of terrace houses called Jacob's Barracks. And it soon became apparent that that part of town obviously used to be some sort of military installation.
Yes.
And these obviously were the barracks. But the thing that caught our eye to it is the end wall. It's this huge big wall,
Yes.
painted like a deep yellow sort of colour.
Mhm.
And it had loads of coat of arms on it.
Yeah.
And they were the coat of arms of each parish from Latvia.
Parish.
Parish, yes.
Interesting.
According to wikipedia.org.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
Yeah, every parish of Latvia.
I didn't know it was parish. Because parish is quite
Oh, that's the word I was looking for earlier, wasn't it?
specific.
Yeah. Yeah, but then I don't know whether parish is the same thing as a count. No, it's not, is it? Because
No, parishes are much smaller.
parishes are smaller, yeah.
Parish
but
is
towns
just
are
like
smaller.
the area of the church.
Of course, yeah, that's by church, yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that just from the other side of the park, it's like, what's that? Let's go see what that is.
Yeah.
And it turns out it's on it's just a row of buildings. I read online, I don't think you can go in these buildings.
No.
It's just a row of historic buildings.
Okay.
And just on the other side of the road from that was the War Museum.
Was?
The Latvia War Museum, which was built into an old like watchtower sort of thing.
Mhm.
It was a huge rounded tower.
Yes.
And the best thing about the Latvia War Museum, we were so happy to find this out, is it's free entry.
Yes.
And that's the first time we've seen a museum, I say proper museum,
Outside of the UK.
outside of UK, that's been free.
That's been free.
You know, I mean, the UK museums kind of have to be free because everything's stolen.
Yeah.
It's
Yes.
been pilfered from other countries. But no, the Latvia War Museum was free. Like many other museums we found in Europe, they won't let you in with backpacks.
Mhm.
Not even with jackets on. We had to put our jackets away.
We did, but it was nice and warm in there.
It was nice and warm, and they were having to take our jackets off. And we could have spent.
You could spend a whole day in
You
there.
could spend a whole
really.
day. Unfortunately, we got in there. We spent about 2 hours in there.
Yeah.
And that was right up until closing time.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes all the way back to as much recorded history as they have.
Yeah.
And luckily or not, when you go into the buildings, this is the same in the Terror, the House of Terror in Budapest.
Yeah.
Like in each building, in each room at the front, there'll be a little pocket with pieces of paper which have English different language translations on it. So you have to carry that around and sort of walk with it. I remember we were struggling to figure one out in the first room we walked into.
Yeah.
Turned out we'd gone right when we went in instead of going left.
Yeah.
Which threw us completely off. Because you can't just read on the walls. It's kind of like, what the hell are they talking about? And I'm like, this is... Oh, that way. Okay. I think we got halfway round until we figured out. Hang on, no, we've got the wrong. I think on the back there's a map.
There was a chap sat by the door. I wonder what he was thinking. Like, oh my god, British people again.
Tourists. But no, it was. So you start with the really late history, and then there was a lot, understandably, on the Soviet occupation, and it all gets quite grim. We'd seen it again in Budapest back in March, which wasn't part of this trip. The old Eastern Bloc countries do not want people to forget about what they've been through.
No.
In their living history, like it's, this is only like 50, 60 years ago, and there's still people alive and stuff with it. And I think we came out of there, and I think we both agreed that war museums, particularly war museums, go a lot further, we found, to getting a good idea of how the country is now.
Yes.
Or why the country is how it is now.
Yes.
When you know, especially, I suppose, the whole Soviet occupation thing. See, they've been through, this is a battered people. These are a battered people.
Yeah.
They've been through some hardships, and they're now in an age of, they're in the upwards.
Yeah.
The upwards curve.
They're rebuilding.
Things are getting better for them. There, people are generally happier there. We've seen from other videos it doesn't work in all old Eastern Bloc countries.
No.
But yeah, it's war museums.
They give you a good insight.
Yes.
I think. Rather than it just being, oh, this man was president at this time and he built this building and it was great and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
It's like, no, these people came in and they destroyed and leveled cities.
Yeah. And then they left, and then some others came
in. And somebody else came in, and, and this just happened over and over and over again. But it's very sobering.
Yeah, it is.
I will say the museum is massive. It's like 4 stories.
Yes.
Jam-packed with giant rooms, and there is everything. I think there was even like some old school like models of ships.
They were, sort of dotted about. Yeah,
I love ships.
In corridors.
I absolutely love ships, so that was so cool.
Well, I think that place, I think there was a school trip in there, wasn't there?
Maybe.
Because there was a room, like a corridor you walk through, and they had little booths with videos playing, and you had to hold the hand, like a telephone handset.
Oh, yes.
And there were sort of, I say school children, they're teenagers, so they don't want to be there. But they're being taken on a school trip, and so they're just sort of milling around in a room long enough till the teacher moves them on, I suppose, which is a bit of unfortunate timing. But I think because this is the end of the day, we were coming up to closing, we didn't have time to sit through them all anyway. But I think every time we finished a floor, we thought, oh, this must be the last. This next one must be the last floor. Like, we're getting tired now. This must be the last one. Then we can. Oh, no, there's another one, and it just.
Well, every single time we went up a further floor, because as you said, it was close. It was close to closing time.
Closing, yes.
That's a difficult sentence to say. I expected somebody to be like, "Oh no, you're not supposed to be up here," because there was nobody else around by the time we got to the top floor, I think. So there was a lady who came out, but she just came out to tell us, just like, you're supposed to go that way.
Yeah,
because we were about to go the wrong way.
I think we were sort of, I think. Yeah, that's reminded me. I think you are right. We kept expecting people to say, like, oh no, could you start going downstairs, please?
Yeah.
Because we're trying to close up. But they're like, no, it's this way. Oh, okay, fine.
We're just fumbling around this wall.
We're just, oh, sorry mate, where's the guns? Yes, we were there till it closed, by which point it was dark.
It was dark.
And that marked the end of our trip in Latvia, unfortunately. So that was only only 2 days. Yeah, 2 days.
2 days.
We woke up we crossed into Cesis, slept,
Mm-hmm.
did Cesis and
Sigulda.
No, not on that day. No, we did Cesis and then the Cervantes
Zvartes Rock.
Rock,
Mm-hmm.
and then the Museum Reserve.
Yeah.
Then we slept that night. Then we did Devil's Rock. Tried to go to Sigulda, but it was shut. And then did Riga. And then we left to cross the border that night. That was a long drive that night.
That was a very long drive.
Because by chance, I just happened to have seen on Facebook, on just some creepy photo page.
Yeah.
Just this. Well, I was about to say this hill of crosses. The hill of crosses in Lithuania, and I just looked at it. No one had said where it was. Oh, the hill of crosses. That looks amazing. I wonder where that is. So, Latvia. We're going there.
Lithuania.
Sorry. Wow. Okay. Good job you're here to check me.
Yeah.
Would have ended up going completely wrong place. So we went there that night. Worth noting though, for anyone going in a camper van or motorhome, and you want a proper shower, there was it was a paid car park. I think it cost us like €1.20.
I think if you stay for less than half an hour, it's free. Anything more than that, they charge. So if you're really speedy,
really quick shower.
You could get it for free.
But it's on the docks.
Yes.
I'm going to call it dock because a harbour sounds bigger.
I think it is docks.
And you just park in and it registers your number plate.
Mm-hmm.
So it tells you when you get in. And there's just a room of showers and toilets.
Yes.
And you just go in and like a piping hot water. It's obviously for the dock, people coming in on boats or things, whatever. And it's free. Well, in the parking, you have to pay for parking for there for half an hour.
Yeah.
And we did have trouble getting out.
We did.
I can't remember because it got our number plate. Because when you go and pay, you have to choose your number plate. It has a photo of your registration. So it got that, but I think it must have been like a headlight sensor or something. Because we had the stickers on, it wasn't picking us up enough.
Yeah.
So we had a bit of bother getting out of there. And then I started worrying, well, we paid because we've been in for a certain amount of time. Normally, like you go to a multi-story car park and you get a token.
Yeah.
And so I've been here for 20 minutes, and you pay for 20 minutes, then you've got like a window to get out.
Yes.
Once you get out. So I was worried about that, with it being quite late at night now. But we did eventually get out.
We did.
And off we went.
Yep.
Leaving Latvia. So that was Latvia.
That was.
Short but sweet. Definitely want to go back there. Because there's so much more.
There is.
Oh, we didn't mention about Riga. We were supposed to mention this while we were talking about it. 1/3 of Latvians live in Riga.
Fair.
There's only about 2 million people live in Latvia.
Yeah.
But 1/3 of the population of Latvia live in Latvia.
Live in Latvia, do they?
My word, it's late. I should have had a coffee before we started this.
He means Riga.
I mean Riga, thank you. Which brings me on to the bonus feature.
The bonus feature.
The trivia, I think you've all been waiting for. Number one, I removed number one because number one was 1/3 of people live in Riga. And I thought, no, we'll work that into the conversation of Riga, and that did not happen. So we saw 2 rivers.
Yes.
Well, we stopped specifically at 2 rivers, the Marta and the Gauja. Latvia actually has 12,000 rivers.
That's crazy.
And 3,000 small lakes.
That's crazy.
I can see why the British couple were there with their kayaks.
Yeah.
Rivers everywhere. And it's all this comes into the next bit. 54% of the land is forest, and 10% is bog. So bring your wellies. 20% of the land is protected, and it actually topped the Environmental Performance Index in 2012. So lots of rivers and lakes in forest.
Yes.
It
is a very beautiful country.
It is, and it's so, again, because it's so large compared to the population, it's so quiet. Again, there are no motorways, they don't need it. There are no congestion charge zones because they don't need it.
No.
Or emission zones, rather. That's a point, actually, just touching on that, just thought about it. I've never seen any places with congestion charge zones. It's all emission charge zones. London's the only place I visited. I know we haven't been to every city, obviously.
Yeah.
But London's the only one I know definitely had a congestion charge zone, as well as an emission zone.
Yeah.
Someone could probably correct me on that, but there you go. Yeah, it was the 5th country in the world in terms of female models per capita. Mentioned.
I love that this is like the 2nd episode in a row where you brought up female models.
Well, Estonia was the top. Estonia have more female models per capita than any other country in the world.
Is this why you want to go back?
Maybe. No, of course not. Don't be silly. But no, it's 5th. Well, you just don't think of it, do you? Because you think, oh, supermodels. You think, oh, they're Sweden or America or something like that. You don't think of the old Eastern Bloc. Because it came 5th. I'll tell you, it came obviously after Estonia, Iceland, Lithuania, and Denmark.
Yeah.
So we went to all other than Iceland because that's a little bit out of the way. We've been to all those countries. Yeah.
I see.
Why didn't we go to... Oh, Iceland's incredibly expensive. And that's why they stopped direct flights from Birmingham.
Yeah.
Birmingham International Airport is slowly becoming a terrible, terrible airport.
It's not a very good one.
I mean, it's like geographically,
yeah,
it's one of the better airports.
Yeah,
it's in the middle of the country.
To anywhere.
No, like it has excellent access for people from like Wales or like anywhere. Because London,
Yeah.
you've either got to go to Heathrow or Manchester.
Mm-hmm.
Rubbish. So we didn't go to Iceland. We need to cross that, and then we've done the top 5 model countries.
Great.
That's another trip.
Can we do one for the male models, please?
No, that's sexist. Well, no, because we were saying, weren't we? Because I remember we were in Sweden.
Mm.
No, I think we said we were in either Estonia or Latvia.
Yeah.
And we were coming to how many attractive women there were.
Yes.
And I remember when we were in Sweden, I remember saying there's not as many attractive women here as I thought, but there were plenty more attractive men.
Oh, there were plenty of attractive men in Sweden.
Yeah, I think that stereotype sort of swapped. Anyway, yes, moving on. The Latvian flag. Obviously, Latvia hasn't been a country as long as this flag has been used, but their flag, which is, I think, is it a burgundy? Or like a deep claret?
Yes.
I'm not sure. The colour of the flag?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. It's just that with a white horizontal stripe through the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Has been in use since 1280.
Wow.
The only flag that has been in use longer than that is the current Denmark flag. So there you go. Obviously, Latvia hasn't been a country that long.
Not named Latvia.
Not named
itself,
Latvia,
yeah.
but yeah. There is a former military prison in Karosta, probably pronouncing that wrong, which is now a hostel. Now, I only mentioned this because it sounds like I'm morbidly curious about this. They offer the full prisoner experience, which involves uniformed officers, prison cell accommodation, organised physical exercise, and verbal abuse. Now, I imagine you have to pay extra.
Is there a special package where you can combine the organised physical exercise and the verbal abuse?
I think
it might actually get me doing some exercise.
I think the verbal abuse might just be ingrained into every aspect of that stay. I hope they'll be missing a treat if they don't charge extra for language packages for the verbal abuse. Or you pay the base rate, it's just in Latvian, so you don't know what they're saying to you. There was a tailor born Jacob Ufez. I assume it's pronounced that because it's J's and it's slightly Scandinavian, so Jacob Ufez. He moved to the United States of America in 1954, changed his name to Jacob W. Davis. In 1870, he was asked by a customer to make a strong pair of trousers for her woodcutter husband. His creation would become the template for modern denim jeans. In fact, 2 years after that, with help from a little man called Levi Strauss, they patented the product.
Yeah.
So Levi's name is on the thing, but this other bloke,
it's actually Jakob.
Jakob actually invented it. So jeans are Latvian invention.
That's quite cool.
Another Riga native called Alexander's Lein, probably pronouncing that completely wrong, was the first recorded human to reach Angel Falls in Venezuela. Now, interestingly to me, that happened in 1949.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to me that, obviously, if he's the first recorded human to go there, that would suggest that that's the first recorded mention of the waterfall.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to me that it's only been that recently, quote, discovered. Someone must have found it before, they just didn't write it down.
Probably they just didn't write it down.
So yeah, so a Latvian officially discovered Angel Falls, the tallest waterfall in the world.
Didn't you also say that Latvia had territory in
the Caribbean?
The Caribbean?
Yes, that was quite a long-winded thing to fit in, but it wasn't called Latvia then, it was...
But that's interesting, because when you think of colonisation, you don't think of the Eastern Bloc.
No, you don't.
They didn't have colonies, they were colonised.
Yeah, no, that's true, yeah. But they had a little bit of... Tobago was one of them.
Yeah.
And St Andrews Island, which became something else.
Kunta Kinte.
Kunta Kinte Island used to be was Latvian at one point.
That's quite cool.
So maybe they still speak a bit of Latvian.
Well, that's what I was thinking. Maybe they've got a little bit of influence.
Yeah, maybe.
Influence. That'd be quite cool.
Yeah. But that's it for Latvia. Again, I'd love to go back.
Yes. A lot of tangents in this episode.
Yeah, but you know, this was, I think, at this point, other than our... Oh no, I was going to say this is our shortest trip, but it might have been actually 2 days. One of our shortest visits to a country, which is unfortunate. But then again, we didn't deliberately make it shorter. We had less misadventures.
Yeah.
Like nothing went wrong in Latvia.
Yeah.
So we could just go.
Which was kind of nice.
Which was nice, but it just meant we didn't get to see as much.
True.
Yeah. So there you go. That's it for Latvia. Thank you very much for listening this far.
If you've made it.
Through everything. Please do leave a rating or review on whatever platform you listen to these on. It really helps us. So I'm told. If you have been listening with a podcast service, every episode is also available, along with weekly video diaries of our ongoing journey on our YouTube channel. Just search for Catavan or Catavan UK. We don't have a personalised URL yet. People, if you could subscribe, they would make it easier for other people to find us. There you go. Help out your fellow man. Likewise, if you are listening to this on YouTube, we can also find us on your podcast service of choice. Just search for CatavanCast and we will pop up. These podcasts are released every Wednesday and our video diaries go live every Sunday. Please do get in touch with us about anything really. If you just want a bit of chat and some advice, if we've missed anything, if we've offended your orthodox beliefs, you can leave us a comment on YouTube or you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram where we are at Catavan UK. You can also email us directly at catavanuk@gmail.com. Finally, Redbubble.
Yes.
You've been working hard on that, haven't you?
I have, yes. So there is now, actually, there's a point, there is now a separate Instagram.
Yes, I need to update my outro. Yeah.
Yes. For Catavan's Redbubble account, mainly, where I post mood board-esque things. Yes. They're very colourful and bright.
Just like us.
Yes.
Sorry. Just lying on recorded lies there.
It's called Catavan Art. That's how you can find it. It's linked through the Catavan UK Instagram as well.
Yep.
So if you're interested in that, just keep up to date with any of the designs coming out. I am uploading 1 or 2 designs every single day, so that's going up massively. Redbubble are bringing out more and more products as we go. The recent addition is jigsaw puzzles, which I'm personally very excited about.
Yeah.
If I could, I would buy all my designs as jigsaw puzzles. I love them. But yes.
So the designs are photos that you've taken on this trip?
On this trip, yes.
We are starting to get photos of people who have bought our products.
Yes, which is exciting.
I think the most, I don't say out of place, but a noteworthy one, someone bought one of our stickers and put it on his toolbox.
That's kind of cool.
Which is cool, yeah. So cool. Building sites across the UK will have Catavan UK. What's that? Or just ignore it, whatever.
Just ignore it. We also have masks.
Yes, topical.
Yes, very topical at the moment. I know that Britain has made it a legal requirement to be wearing masks in shops.
Yep.
If you are after a mask and you'd like a unique one, get in touch with me and we'll see what we can do.
This will sound like such a sales pitch. I genuinely want one.
I
want one with our logo on it, but the way we have to go to the post office here to ask if we can have a little box.
Yeah, if we can have a post box
at the end of the road, and I'm like, well, that won't fit a box in.
No. You
get letters in there. We haven't figured out how deliveries work in Greece yet.
No. But yes.
Yes.
So there's the red bubble?
Pubble.
Red bubble sales pitch
Yes.
done.
There
We
you
are
go.
failing to speak English now.
Yes. Speak English. Now, yes. That's it. Let's just end it there. That is it for this week. We'll be back next week where we'll be rounding off our Baltic trilogy.
Yes.
With Lithuania, Return of the Elves. I don't know. Yes, where something else goes wrong.
Of course,
So
as always.
you've got to stick around for that. That's it. That's next week.
That's it.
Thank you very much for listening. I've been Ben.
I've been Frey.
And Dargo is...
Dargo's cleaning herself.
Yes.
Yes.
If you have a cat, you know what it looks like when they're waiting for a high five. That's what she's doing.
Poor Dargo.
Poor Dargo.
We're embarrassing her. But she's awake. She's made it awake throughout this entire episode, you know.
She has. It hasn't made any noise, but no one knows she's here.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much for listening.
Yes. Bye-bye.
Bye.